Okay, are we ready to go?
We are.
Excellent. No, that's great. Right, I think we're officially live, so welcome. Thanks for the introduction, Jill. But just to let you know, my formal qualifications, I have got a Bachelor in Science in Nutrition and Dietetics, so I gained that nearly 15 years ago now, a 4-year degree in Nutrition and Dietetics. And I am a registered dietitian, so I am a member of the British Dietetic Association. You can be rest assured that it's all reliable, credible, it's all safe, it's nothing faddy. And for that, some people think it's a little bit unsexy, but it's going to be safe and reliable. I'm also a dietitian in my home hospital, which is Southend-on-Sea. So I tend to work with patients on ITU. So they've been had an induced coma, and I normally stick a tube down them. So I normally what we call nasogastric feed them through a tube that goes up their nose, down their throat into their stomach. Or if we can't get to their stomach for any reason, I stick the strap straight in their jugular vein and I feed them intravenously. So I'm still quite lucky that although I specialise in corporate health and wellbeing, I also love my clinical side as well. So I get the best of both worlds. So today we are going to be looking at how to sustain yourself through a busy working day, the healthy way. So I've got an hour with you today, and that's why I have to call my sessions part 1, because literally there are so many aspects that can help us to keep going through the working day. And I'm going to hopefully put all the best bits. I've got some products here to show you. I've got some products to taste test as well that you can take away back to your desk. Because I literally love supermarket shopping. For me is lovely. So what will we be going through? We're going to be going through blood glucose control, because ultimately that really does keep us going. What happens to our sugar levels throughout the day has a direct impact on how we feel and has an effect on our food choices. I'm also going to be looking at maximising our energy levels through certain foods that we can maybe eat more of. I'm going to be looking at how we can incorporate healthy snacks. And finally, looking at the Eat Well plate. So who's seen this model? Yeah, good. Okay. So and it basically divides all our food into 5 major food groups. But there's essentially something missing on there that I want to draw your attention to, and how it affects our performance. So, first of all, though, there is a challenge. So Jill knows me well. She's come to a recent presentation that I did for IOSH last year, and there is always a challenge for you guys. So in front of you, you have a sheet. I think you've all got it on the wrong side. I want you to turn over to the blank side. The challenge includes writing down everything you ate. I would say yesterday, but I want it to be a working day. So yesterday obviously being a Sunday, it might not be reflective of what you do Monday to Friday. So what I'd like you to do is choose a day last week, possibly Friday. If you can remember that far back. If you can't, what I want you to do then is write down what you eat and drink in a typical day. Now I will be going around the room and I will just be peeking over the top of your shoulder, because I want to just gain and assess your intake. Okay, if you don't want me to see, just put your hand over it. But I'm not going to share, I'm not going to say, Jane, oh, what have you had for, I don't agree what you've had for lunch, or, I'm not going to say anything. It's just for me to recognise what you're all eating. Okay, so if you're having things like cereal for breakfast, what type of cereal is it? Is it cornflakes, or is it sultana bran? Is it like Cocoa Pops, or is it shredded wheat? If you're having toast, what type of bread are you having? Don't forget all your fluid too.
Jane, how many cups of tea do I have?
I'm sorry. tea. If you have any milk or sugar, don't forget to put them in. If you're having cereal with milk, what type of milk are you having? If you're having a roll or a wrap, what type of roll or wrap? Is it whole milk? Okay, don't forget to include your snacks that you have whilst you're maybe watching TV.
Cool. I've only got to 11 o'clock so far.
I'm just doing a typical day.
Yeah, this is my work day. Tired today.
Okay, good. I think I've got a good idea of how you'll do it. But sometimes, on a side note, people actually find it quite good to record what they're eating. It actually does highlight, like you said, Lee, actually you can eat quite a lot in the day without actually realising. Okay, but on the reverse of that sheet, there are some things for you to know. What I want to do today is look at the Eat Well plate in relationship to what you've just recorded as your 24-hour food recall. As we go through the presentation today, if there's anything that's really pertinent to you, or you think, I want to put that in the newsletter, or this could be really, useful, then you can jot that down on your changes to try sheet. And then I've included a shopping list there for you as well. So again, you can implement that whenever you wish. So it could be tonight you go shopping, could be next weekend, next month, could be for Lent, it could be, whenever you want it to be, you can incorporate those changes. But first of all, I want to just highlight that I'm going to be talking about, hopefully the Eat Well plate, but probably 3 major food groups. And I want to talk about them in relation to boosting energy levels and increasing performance. And that doesn't have to just be performance at work, it can be performance home or sport, okay? So throughout the day. So what I want to focus on first is one of the major food groups, okay? And that is looking at blood glucose control, really from this food group here. So the starchy carbohydrate group, so that yellow food group that you can see there top right, okay? So you've got in there bread, rice, potatoes, pasta, things like bulgur wheat, quinoa, all those kind of fancy grains as well. So what I want to go through is what happens to our blood glucose or our blood sugar levels through the working day, and how our blood sugar levels can affect our food choices, both positively, and they can affect our food choices negatively as well. And that can either help us or hinder us getting through the working day in a healthy way. So let's have a look. Now, our blood sugar levels are normally measured between 4 and 7, okay? This is for someone that's got a healthy individual. We've got breakfast, lunch and evening meal, okay? And blood sugar levels are normally measured in millimoles per litre. Now, I want to go through 2 scenarios to illustrate the point of how important good glucose control is. So, hands up, who eats regular meals? Breakfast, lunch and dinner, okay, all right. So, but Jane, you don't?
I don't have breakfast.
No, okay. And Alison, can I pick on you for someone who eats regular meals? Okay. So, Jane, if I was to come round to your house first, Alison, because I want to show you actually what good blood sugar control looks like. Okay. So, if I was to come round to your house first thing in the morning, okay, take a little bit of blood from your finger, pop it into my machine. You would come out at around about 4 millimoles per litre for your sugar or glucose levels. Generally, Most people will come out that if they haven't got diabetes. So this is for healthy individuals, okay? And the reason that you've come out around about 4 is because your liver has supported you overnight and everybody else in the room. So your liver produces glucose that keeps you, you know, just going through the night time so that you don't dip too low below 4, and that's when you would end up in one of my hospitals. So, Alison, you get up, tested your sugar levels, they come out at 4. You have something to eat. What might that be for breakfast?
If I was at home, it would be porridge.
Excellent.
And fruit.
Excellent. So porridge. And as you can see, what group does porridge fit into?
Yellow.
Yeah, the starchy carbohydrate group, the yellow group. So all of the yellow group, the complex carbohydrates break down into sugar. That's their primary function, to give us energy throughout the working day, or any day. It doesn't have to be if you're, you know, working. It could be when you're at home. So your porridge breaks down into glucose, and your glucose levels rise. When they get to a certain level, your body will produce insulin, and insulin will help to remove that glucose from the bloodstream. And where do we need it around the body? Brain and muscles. Excellent. So what happens then is your glucose levels come back down. What would you have for lunch, Alison?
Well, I'd usually have a snack in between.
That's fine, but what would you have
For lunch, or if I'm at work, I usually get a ready meal from Waitrose, like one that's had chicken with barley and vegetables in it today.
Okay, yeah, give me another scenario of what you'd have.
Sometimes I might have a salad.
Yeah.
And I might have some chocolate or something after, to be completely honest.
Okay.
If I'm at home, I'd probably eat better if I was at home.
Okay, so you might make a sandwich.
Yeah.
Okay.
I try not to have a sandwich at lunch because I find it doesn't fill us up enough.
Okay.
To have more of a meal.
Okay, so more of a convenience meal, like you said, at a supermarket.
Yeah.
And that's fine. And mostly those convenience meals have got good sources of carbohydrate, good sources of protein, and some micronutrients as well, some vitamins and minerals. But whatever you have, maybe that like casserole with some, I don't know whether it's got any pasta in it or rice, that would come from, again, that food group. And the same thing would happen. Sugar levels would rise in the bloodstream. The sugar will be used around the body for energy, so that's brain, because obviously you've got to sit and do your work, Alison, and also just keeping your body sitting in the position that you're in requires energy. And so glucose levels come back down. The same thing happens for evening meal if you were to have something from this food group. So whether it would be a pasta dish or some rice, some potatoes, or a sandwich or a bowl of cereal, even for evening, you know, that would be a complex carbohydrate. And what would it break down into? Sugars, yeah, glucose levels would rise and they would fall again because you're using that energy up throughout the day. Your body loves this. It loves the highs and the lows throughout the day, but controlled highs and lows between 4 and 7. It really enjoys that. But let's come on to someone who maybe misses meals. So Jane. Now, if I was to come round to Jane's house first thing in the morning, take a little bit of sugar from her finger, pop it in my machine, and look at her glucose levels, where would her sugar levels be first thing in the morning? 4, exactly, because it's the same as Alison's. Basically, your liver, Jane, has supported you overnight exactly the same as Alison's. So your sugar levels would come to 4. But you start getting ready for work. You walk to the tube station or the train station or get in your car to come to work. And what happens to your sugar levels? They drop, yeah, indeed. So we can see here that in this red line that your sugar levels drop, but the body doesn't let them continue dropping, okay? Because then you really would just literally end up collapsing. So what happens here is that your sugar levels plateau. And your liver then supports you again. So it's just supported you all overnight. It's had a little bit of respite, well, just here for about 5 or 10 minutes. But as soon as you've got up and started moving, you've required energy. That energy has to come from somewhere. It doesn't initially, your liver has to kind of kick in, if you like. It does take a little bit of a while. So you dip first, and then you'd hover, maybe around 3.2, 3.3, that level. How do you feel when your sugar levels are down here? Tired? Weak, lethargic. Where would you want to be? What number for your sugar levels would you want to be at this point here?
7.
Indeed, 7. So what would you crave?
Sugar.
Exactly. Because your liver is in what I call this danger of suboptimal zone. You don't function well when you're here, and the liver knows it. And the liver will do anything to get you out of that zone quickly. And you are not going to choose. When you're down here, you're faced with an apple or a chocolate bar, your liver will not tell you to go for the piece of fruit. Because A, you need to pay back the liver because it's continued to work. And also, your sugar levels need to be up here mid-morning. So can you see how this really does affect food choices? And you can say to me, "Well, I've got the best willpower in the world." You cannot defy your physiological, working body. Your liver does not want to do a job. It's like me saying to any of you, right, today it's 20 to 3. I'm going to give you some extra work and you've got to stay till midnight. Would you enjoy it? No. Exactly the same way that your liver really doesn't enjoy doing this job when it's just supported you overnight. So, how do we make sure we don't go into that danger or suboptimal zone? What can we do?
Have breakfast.
Eat regular meals, indeed, yes. Have you achieved this? Look back on your 24-hour recall. Do you have regular meals? What else should we be doing at each meal time? What food group should we be having?
Carbohydrates.
Exactly. We should be having a regular source of carbohydrate. So look back at your 24-hour recall. Have you achieved this? No?
I eat quite low carb.
Okay, so you're quite low carb? Okay.
I don't want vegetables.
Okay. So, if you haven't, is this something, a change that you'd like to initiate? What I want to go through next is when you can identify your own vulnerable times. And by that I mean your energy slumps in the day. I mean, mine is literally 3:30.
Yeah.
I can literally set my watch by it. Who's this mid-morning? Anybody? Yeah? And who's this later on in the evening?
No, it's afternoon.
Afternoon. So if everyone here generally the afternoon, and we do know that that's generally the case. Most people have that kind of 3:30, 4 o'clock energy slump. So I want to go through tactics that we can do to stop that happening, and also look at super fuel. So who's heard of the GI? Okay. Who understands it?
Yeah, to a degree.
To a degree?
Yeah.
So? Yeah, okay. Well, this is really important for keeping our blood glucose levels stable throughout the day as well. So basically, GI, whether foods are low GI, medium GI or high GI, okay, is all to do with how quickly or slowly sugar is released from those carbohydrates, okay? So you've got time along this axis here, and you've got glucose release, so hardly any glucose and a lot of glucose. So just to recap, what do all this break down into? Glucose. Yes, okay. What do you think each yellow ball represents on my 2 different carbohydrates here? Molecules of glucose, exactly. So, here I've got a low GI carbohydrate, and on this hand I've got a high GI carbohydrate. And you can see on my high GI carbohydrate, all my molecules are really lightly bound together. Therefore, my body can attack this from any angle and pull these apart very quickly. And hence, this is what the curve looks like. It's high release of glucose over a relatively short period of time. On the other hand, you've got the low glycemic index carbohydrate. So you can see that all the glucose molecules are tightly bound together. So the longer your body takes to pull them all apart, the slower the release of sugar. And this would be a low GI carbohydrate. Does anybody know any examples of low GI foods?
Oats.
Oats, porridge oats, perfect. Now, I forgot to mention, this is my goodie chair. So my goodie chair is extra to the goodies that I've got on that side of the room. So my goodie chair here comprises of recipe books, eating well guides, and if I say help yourself to a goodie at the end, help yourself to a goodie. So that person who got that one right, with porridge, help yourself to a goodie at the end. What else have we got that's low GI?
Vegetables?
I'm just looking mainly at this starchy carbohydrate group. But you're right, some vegetables have a low, some have medium, and some have a high GI. Whole wheat. Yeah, so we've got things like oatcakes, we've got cereal, so whole wheat cereals, and we've got things like pasta. Pasta is low GI. Basmati rice is low GI. Sweet potato is low GI. Jacket potato is high GI. Oh dear.
That's what I had for lunch.
So can you see though that if you are having high GI options, white bread, cornflakes, then those things release their energy quickly. So you're not getting that nice curve throughout the day. So look back at your 24-hour recall. Are you putting in sweet potato, pasta? Pasta, by the way, doesn't have to be white or brown. All pasta's low GI. But brown pasta obviously is going to be better because it's going to be higher in fibre, very good for gut health, warding off things like bowel cancer, everything like that. I love oatcakes. Now, the oatcakes, they can be, these are naans, but you can get supermarket own brands. These ones are herb and pumpkin. They come individually packed as well, so you get 5 oatcakes in an individual packet. So great for just grabbing for your kind of lunch ideas or having as snacks. But you can get oat biscuits as well. So these ones, again from Naans, but again you can have supermarket own brand. I just like this particular brand. They do fruit and spice, they do stem ginger, they do chocolate chip now. So again, they're obviously with oats, so they're obviously going to be a lower GI value. But have a look back, because low GI, incorporating low GI foods, or just doing that simple swap, from the high GI things like the jacket potato to a low GI sweet potato, swapping your rice brands over from a basmati, to a basmati, will lower that GI value of the rice.
What about new potatoes?
New potatoes fit in the middle, they're medium GI, yeah. Mashed potato is high GI, because think what you've done, you've taken the skin off, you've mashed it down, you really haven't got a lot to do to break the last molecules away from each other. So, yeah. Okay. So, that could be a change that you want to implement. So next we want to avoid this. So, how can we avoid that mid-afternoon energy slump? So, you've got regular complex carbohydrate going in, you've looked at your GI values, and I've got more information on the GI value for you to pick up at the end. So you've looked at all your carbohydrates, you've changed over to low GI options, but we know that as you go through the period of the day, your metabolism does speed up. So you are likely to fall into that danger zone at some stage, regardless of whether you put everything in that's correct. And you want to avoid going into this danger zone because we've all been there. The scenario is when you get home, you're starving hungry, you raid all the kitchen cupboards, the fridge to literally boost up your sugar levels. So what we can do is 30 minutes prior to your vulnerable time is put in what I call an energy booster. So that's literally just tiding over your sugar levels when they're on the way down, just to tide you over, so you don't feel starving hungry when you get home. So energy boosters, my favourite is fruit. A really good thing just to keep you going, tiding over your sugar levels. So it does come from this next major food group. So you can see that the starchy carbohydrates is a big group, and the fruit and veg should be predominantly quite big in your diet too. So let's look at fruit and veg. Well, what are the recommendations? This is an easy one. 5 portions a day. What is a portion?
Something that's
Yeah, anything that fits in your hand. Yes. So it could be an apple or an orange, or 2 smaller fruits, like 2 smaller plums or satsumas. Handful of grapes, so those grapes that I gave you earlier. Again, there would be a portion in that little Tupperware container. But are you achieving it? Look back. Have you managed your 5 a day? Because it's not only a good source of fibre, but it's vitamins and minerals, and they're going to be your natural energy boosters throughout the day. Have you reached it? Have you reached that target of 5 a day? Most people don't, no. Okay. So, natural energy boosters, so unique, oh sorry, I forgot this was in, I like this one. The reason I like energy boosters, and I talk about fruit and veg, is the link with fibre and satiety. So I want to show you 2 pictures of stomachs, one with 200 calories of fat in it, and one with 200 calories of fruit veg. It's not graphic, okay? Here it is. Well, this is not graphic to me, but... Okay, so this is 200 calories worth of fat, okay, in your stomach. At the top here, you've got receptors that send chemical messages to the brain to say, stop eating, I'm full. Can you see? You're never going to reach that. And that's why it's so easy to overeat on the foods containing fat and sugar, because they don't take up much space in your stomach. But look at this. This is your fruit and veg. 200 calories worth of fruit and veg. You're meeting those receptors more. Okay, so really good for satiety. Unique ways of getting fruit and veg in. If you don't feel you're managing it, we've got things like cow crisps that have come over from the US. Really big now in the UK. Has anybody tried any? No? Yeah? They're nice, aren't they? You can make them yourself, really easy. Bunch of cow, wash it, and you can sprinkle over sort of powdered ginger or nutmeg or cinnamon, and just bake them in the oven 12 minutes. Or you can buy them pre-made as well. And they're available from major, big supermarkets as well as health food shops. You've also got the frozen grapes that you tried earlier. Like them?
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So again, just unique ways of thinking about boosting up fruit and veg. So moving on to snacking. Now, snacking can fit into the Eat Well plate very nicely. So we've got our fruit and our veg. So vegetable, obviously you've got all your vegetable sticks, carrot sticks, celery sticks, peppers and things. You've got your fruit like bananas, apricots, fruit salad. I want to also introduce you to some of these. I'm not going to tell you what they are. I just want you to taste them. They are raisins, but these remind me of when I was little. Used to go to the sweet shop with probably only about, in those days, 10p, and that would get me all my half-penny sweets. And I used to have the little cola bottles. I think you get 2 for £1. Try these. If you like your sweet foods, try these and see what you think. Oops. Sorry, what do you think?
Oh, it's Jo, sorry.
Oh, sorry, Jo.
Sorry. Yeah, no, they're really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you thought fruit was boring, think again, because this is just another unique way of getting fruit into the diet. They come in different flavours. What flavour have you had just now?
Cola.
Cola, yeah. So they come in orange, they come in lime, they come in lemon, cherry, all different sorts of flavours. So again, it doesn't have to be boring. Because a lot of people say to me, a lot of my clients say, yeah, I'm bored with fruit. But for me, that's quite an exciting way of having it. Although I do understand that people want something maybe a bit more substantial than a piece of fruit, particularly if you're travelling a lot or you've just got a bit more of an active job, and that's where your starchy carbohydrates can play a very important role. So you can go for whole wheat crackers, you can go for wholemeal scones, wholemeal English muffins, that's not the American muffins. You can go for another bowl of cereal. Don't forget your cereals are low GI, or quite often Sultana Brown here, it's fortified with extra vitamins and extra minerals. So again, really good way of adding extra nutrition into your daily diet. Slice of granary toast, if your workplace has got kind of toasting facilities, not many do have, but a slice of bread, it doesn't have to be toast. You've got the protein group, so you can include things like nuts and nut butters. There are loads of now really good nut butters out. It's not just peanut butter. So I had crunchy nut butter, I had crunchy cashew nut butter this morning for breakfast. But you've got Brazil nut butter, almond nut butter. But you can also go for things like hummus, which is from the chickpea, so very good source of soluble fibre. You've got the dairy side of the Eat Well plate, so you've got things like your yogurts, you've got milkshakes. So my husband's a real kind of milkshake fan. He will often want ice cream in it. So what I do, I freeze my bananas. And just normal semi-skim milk, frozen banana, and that comes out lovely, thick and creamy. You've got low-fat cheeses that you can have, so Edam being a medium-fat cheese, but you've got lots of the good low-fat cheeses. And of course you've got the good old-fashioned cottage cheese. And then you have got this very small group here, which is the foods containing fat and foods containing sugar, which means that it can be eaten in part of a well-balanced diet. But if you wanted to be more cautious of this group, you could go for things like plain biscuits that aren't chocolate coated or filled. You could go for the fun-sized chocolate bar so you're still enjoying it, but obviously it's portion size control. Or things like dark chocolate as well. So often snacking, like I said earlier, has got a bit of a taboo, but actually if you snack on the right foods, it has the ability for you to, really keep your blood sugar levels stable. It's a good way to prevent your overeating at the next meal, especially if you dip down into that danger or suboptimal zone. Opportunity to boost up vitamins and minerals because you're eating from those good food groups that we mentioned. So the fruit and the veg, the complex carbohydrates, the dairy or the protein group. If it's wrong, if the snack that you're eating you think, oh golly, that's a bit high in sugar, high in fat, this is what I ask you to do. So it's not quite as bad. So if you're getting that all correct and you're thinking, oh, Alison, I do all this, what am I doing still wrong? Well, it's not that you're doing anything wrong, but we just need to focus on a few more things. And the other thing we need to focus in on is protein. Okay, so from this food group here. So let's have a look a bit more about the power of protein and what that can do for keeping us organised. So, what are the protein-rich foods? You've got a copy of the Eat Well plate there. What are they? Eggs,
Meat.
fish, meat,
Pulses?
white meat, pulses, yeah, so baked beans, kidney beans, chickpeas, yeah, good. Okay, how much do we need of protein?
20%? 20% fat, 20% protein, 6% carbs is the normal diet.
Yeah, it's what, sorry? Yeah, you've got different ways of working it out, although it can get a bit tricky if you 1 gram per kilo, people don't often know their weight in kilos, and 20% you kind of work out, well, what is 20%? So I just relate it back down to the size of a pack of playing cards. And ideally, you should be having about 2 of these portions a day, just roughly. So, are you achieving this? Because look back at your food record intake, your recall that you did. Are you having it twice daily? No. If you're not, that's somewhere that you might want to look at changing. And the reason for that, because protein offers us a sensation of satiety, so it keeps us feeling full. If we feel full, we're unlikely then to snack on the wrong foods. And if you are snacking, you need to find out why you're snacking. Are you just snacking what we call mindless snacking? And that's another topic altogether. So, how we get it all right on our plate? So the Eat Well plate gives us kind of some help on how to get the 5 food groups into our weekly kind of diet. But how do you then drill that down into what you eat every day and at every meal time? So I kind of say, if you want to manage your energy levels, manage what's on your plate. So literally, what we've got here is a plate. I've got one here as well, and I'll send it round. We roughly say 50% of your plate should be veg or salad. So that's things like, your lettuce, your rocket, your carrots, whatever it might be. 25% of your plate should be carbs. So pasta, rice, bulgur wheat, quinoa. The other 25% should be your protein. So white meat, red meat, white fish, oily fish, pulses, nuts, eggs. That's your protein section there. So you can, if you want to, have a look back to see if you've got the three ingredients to maximising your energy: carbohydrates, protein, and vitamins and minerals for in the fruit and veg group. Have you got the right proportions on your plate? And if you haven't, is it difficult to achieve? If it is, think about what barriers you've got. and see how you can overcome them. So, what's not on the eat well plate? One essential thing. Fats, no, fats are in there. Fats, food.
No chocolate.
No water. No water whatsoever. Okay, so water is really missing from the eat well plate. So why do we need water?
Because we're made up of water.
We're made up of water. What percentage are we?
60.
60. Any advances on 60? We're roughly around, well, we're roughly about 70%. Men are slightly more, women are slightly less. Okay? We're roughly about 70%. Why do we need so much water? Joe, you said it's because we're mostly water, but why? What does water do in the body?
It's the same to your organs.
Yeah. Yeah, and what was it? Over there, is it back? Why do we need so much water?
Keep the cells working.
Keep the cells working, yeah. What do we do a couple of times a day? Go to toilet, yeah. So it aids toxin removal. So those toxins could have been built up through what you're eating, what you're drinking, maybe excess alcohol, smoking, pollution. We're in the city of London. You know, there's things that you can't control as well. But water helps us to remove those toxins from the body. Also, water is essential for transporting nutrients around the body. So that organ health, Jasmine, that you mentioned, those organs require vitamins and minerals to function. They need to get there, and they do that through water, through blood and water. Now, what I want to go through is a scenario of how easy it is for us to become dehydrated. So, I'm going to take the example of someone that's 70 kilos. So, Alison, you said you're near enough 70. Near enough 70 kilos. Okay, so what percentage of water would roughly be in your body?
50-ish.
Ah, okay, so you're working it out. That's fine. 70% of water, 70% of 70 kilos, yeah?
About 50 in a rough
Yeah,
guess.
indeed. Yeah, I've rounded it up too. So, in your body, you have roughly 50 kilos of water. Okay. Now, is that a 500 ml bottle of water there? Yeah. Excellent. Can I just borrow that for the time minutes? Okay. So, if I was to say to you that 1 litre of water equals 1 kilo, how many litres? 50. Not quite. Oh no, sorry. Yeah, I'm with you on that one, sorry. 50 litres of water. Now, if I said this was a 500 ml bottle of water, how many of these? 100, indeed. So you should have the equivalent of 100 of these inside you at the moment. Does that surprise you?
It does seem quite a lot.
Does seem quite a lot. So you have, or should have, 100 of these inside your body. Now, I'm just going to hypothesise that we're roughly around 1% clinical dehydration. We normally dehydrate in the workplace, and I'll share with you the significance of 1% in a minute. But what's 1% of 50 litres? Half a litre, just one of these. So you only need to be in deficit by one of these of your 100 in order to be dehydrated. It doesn't take a lot to dip you into that dehydration zone, does it? No. Okay, so quite easy for us to become dehydrated through the working day. So, what are the signs and symptoms of dehydration? Tiredness. Yeah, tiredness. What else do we get? Headaches. Headaches, yeah. But can you see that's really important then to keeping us really well fired up and full of energy through the working day is hydration. You've also got things like dizziness and irritability. So if your colleague is irritable,
A glass of water. We all needed lots of water this morning.
You've also got things like lack of concentration, impaired performance and reduced short-term memory. All of those because we're dehydrated. So I love this poster when it says keep alert, drink more water, because it is so, so true. So let's have a look at severe dehydration when you go on to become more dehydrated. Exhaustion, reduced coordination, impaired vision. So if you're doing a lot of computer work and your goes all fuzzy, are you drinking enough? You've got increased dryness of the skin. Premature aging occurs because of dehydration. So again, I love this poster. It is so true. Also, if any of you had UTIs or kidney stones, again, water just helps to keep the risk down and flushing through nicely. So I often get asked, how much should I drink, Alison? What should I be taking on board? Now, I said to you earlier that I'm still lucky enough to work in my home hospital, and I normally do feed people via tubes, so they're normally in intensive care, which is great for, you know, one-to-one nursing. So normally I get literally a fluid balance of what goes in and what comes out to the nearest millimetre. So I can determine exactly someone's fluid status based on the information that I'm given. But you guys haven't got tubes, luckily, in up or out. So how would you determine what's right for you?
To colour of your urine.
Indeed. This is my P chart, okay? Because I don't know you, okay? If I did an individual consultation, yes, we could work it out. But you have got something that's individual to you at the time of the day when you go that's telling you how well hydrated you are. Because you could have a lot of fruit and veg in your diet, and if you do, you're getting obviously a lot of water that way. You can have a lot of semi-solids in your diet from yogurts, things like soups, custards, jellies, things like that. So what colour should you be? 1, 2, 2, 3. 1, 2 or 3. We're aiming for colours 1, 2 or 3 throughout the working day for the second wee of the day. Okay, we want the first wee to be more concentrated, and the reason I say that is because I don't want you up going to the toilet overnight. Okay, you need sleep for hormone regulation, weight control, and it's really important to make sure you get enough sleep to actually have energy throughout the day. So 1, 2 or 3 for the second wee of the day. And really, by the time you feel thirsty, you're already dehydrated. So you don't even want to get into this state where you'll take water from any source and gasping. So prevention, top tips, what do you do to keep hydrated and remember to drink?
Regular breaks.
Regular breaks, yeah. So getting into a routine. Even if you don't feel thirsty, it's sipping water throughout the day. So that could be having a glass of water by your bed, or in your bathroom or in your kitchen, somewhere where you do a regular behaviour, so cleaning your teeth, and piggyback on a new behaviour so that you can just make it into a routine. If you can, a bottle of water at your desk. Now I know that's not always easy for some people, but I have a bottle of water, mine is 750 ml, and my personal target is that I have one during the morning, fill up at lunchtime, and that's one for, I'm meant to drink another one in the afternoon, and then any sport on top of that, I would generally drink more. Now, why do I ask you this question? Sometimes you think you're hungry when actually 9 times out of 10 you are actually just crying out for fluid. And we often misread that for hunger. So we'll go and grab a snack when really a snack is not required at all. So it is always worthwhile reaching for a glass of water first. So look back at what you drank yesterday. So you might not have recorded it on your 24-hour food record chart. So it might be actually just physically looking back when you next go to the toilet and looking to see what colour you are and whether or not you need to hydrate yourself more. So just to summarise then, if you can, remember your 5 food groups from the Eat Well plate. Keep up that good balance if you can, so food from the food groups in the proportion that we're meant to have them. Regular meals is so important for blood glucose control. If you can, preempt when you're going to go low, 30 minutes before, have a healthy snack. Prepare yourself with healthy snacks beforehand, because if you don't, you're just going to really get the nearest thing to you, which is often the most available, which is chocolate and biscuits. If you can, incorporate some low GI options into your diet, and like I said, I've got some information sheets on GI that you can have a look at. Power up on protein, so if you think that's lacking, again, people often find that having a bit of protein for breakfast, like egg on toast, boiled eggs, scrambled eggs, actually sees them through that morning without the need for a snack. And if you can, hydration is the key as well throughout the working day, or any day, it doesn't have to be working day, but it's going to really help you stay focused, keep energised. And hopefully the only negative will be this. I hope you enjoyed my lunch. You ate it in the clear plastic box. So I'm happy to take questions. I'm happy to go through some of the resources that we've got available to you. But there was a question.
Yeah, I just wanted to know, is there a difference really in drinking fizzy water or?
No, as long as the idea is that you just keep hydrated. So if that's going to avoid taste fatigue, you're having still versus sparkling, then, change it up. So as long as you keep hydrated.
Does tea count?
Yeah, tea counts keeping you hydrated. So, yeah, you're okay, Jill. Okay, so I just wanted to go through the resources that I've got for you. So we've got here from the 5 a day campaign, what is a portion? So, if you just want kind of a brush up on what is a portion of fruit and veg, they've got that there. So that's quite a handy, what we call Z card. If you want to learn more about eating well and portions and the 5 food groups, this is a really comprehensive guide from the British Heart Foundation. It really is, very comprehensive, very good guide, and that will talk you through the balance of good health model, the Eat Well plate, in lots more detail. So that's about nearly 100 pages booklet. I've also got here food labelling guide. So this is really good. But what I really like about it is in the middle you've got a credit card size pull-out guide here. So this basically allows you to take this around the supermarket and determine healthy kind of amounts of fat and sugar, and it's got saturated fat and it's got salt as well. So that's quite handy, but it's got explanation in as well in the booklet, so you can take one of those. I've also got information for you on the glycemic index. So these are called food fact sheets. They're available to you. They're available on the British Dietetic Association website. They do comply with the information standard. And when new evidence come out, these will be updated. So don't ever, download them and print them off, or just link them to your website, because as soon as they're updated, you'll get the new version. They're written by dietitians, so again, it's credible, reliable information. This one's on the GI, but we've got one for healthy snacks for you and eating well, spending less, from the new programme that came out on TV just recently. But there's loads of different food fact sheets on various different topics for you to go to, should you wish. So you can help yourself to those, or they are available on the website. I can send Jill some links to send to you all if you don't want to take actually a paper copy. Up to you what you want to do. So that brings me to the end. So thank you very much for coming. Those that want a goodie, help yourself. Those that haven't won a goodie, you can still help yourself. And again, if you want to come and have a look at what I've got on my table here, I've just got some healthy snacks as well. You've tried some today at the start of the podcast and during the podcast. So I hope that answered a few questions for you. Thank you very much for coming along. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
They are nice, aren't they?
I think it's so funny, aren't they?
They're good, aren't they?
Yeah.